Hello, Mindsetters. Welcome to Learn Extra Live. My name is Tara Terzic, and we are here today with Dave. How are you, Dave?
How are you doing, Tara?
Very good, thanks.
You look
And
more
yourself?
excited than the learners here.
I'm
about
so excited
geography,
for
eh?
this. I'm so excited to learn, and I hope you guys are too. What are we doing today?
Well, it's exciting, and I just hope the learners are being prepared out there.
Okay.
They're writing geography, and I want them to organize their timetables properly.
Very important.
You know, balancing your subjects, like Monday, do science and geography. Tuesday, do maths and geography.
Definitely.
Wednesday, do life science and geography. Thursday, do English and geography. So they must balance the timetable. But
sure.
you notice something common there. Geography.
Geography,
learners are studying
definitely.
it today. We're actually doing a very simple section here. It's the informal sector. Part of our last section on economic geography, and I know many of you would have finished that at the moment. You understand?
Yes.
So it'll be quite fresh, and we'll go revise over some things, go in a little more detail. It's a section, learners, that you can really score marks on if it comes out.
Very important, then some easy marks, which is so nice to, bump up the mark.
Yes, definitely.
Can be a very good thing. Just before we start, I would like to let you guys know about a really cool competition we've got going. It's called Get Connected. And if you go onto our Facebook page, you'll see the post that we've put up, and it's got all the points for you there. But I'll quickly give you a run through. What you have to do is follow the link that we've posted, and it'll take you to the Cura page. And you'll be asked to put in a code, and that will be learn. It can either be uppercase or lowercase. And once you go onto that, you must then choose your favorite teacher, anyone you like. Anyone you like. And what you must do then, once you've done that, you must come back to the page and like whichever one, the picture of whichever one of the teachers you favor the most. And thirdly, you have to share the picture that you'll see on the post. These are 3 really important steps. You must make sure you do them all, because that will enter you for a competition to win an Xperia phone. This is all sponsored by Vodacom, as well as possibly winning some extra airtime. So you must get on it. It's got some awesome prizes, and it's super easy. So let's do that. That's all from me for now, so let's get started.
I'm excited. Let's get started. All right, learners. Economic geography, the informal sector. All right, let's look at what we're going to focus on today. First of all, something where we mess up a lot. Okay, the difference between, and I'm putting it in, let me get me a better color. The difference between informal settlement and formal settlement. That's what we're going to focus on also. All right? Many learners mess it up. All right, the concept of informal sector, employment, explore characteristics of informal sector employment, reasons for high informal sector employment. All right, explore challenges facing South Africa's informal sector, and discuss importance and role of informal sector in the economy. And we'll also look at strengthening the informal sector. A lovely section, reality orientated, which you see everywhere in South Africa. All right, let's go on. The challenge question, learners, and I'm sure you're going to get it because you already studied your stuff and you're ready to write geography. Let's look at the challenge question. The informal sector is set to reduce crime and create a certain type of informal employment, but it's also known to increase crime. Do you agree with this statement? Give reasons for your answer. When you're looking at this challenge question, think about the reality of situations, all right? And try to see what's really happening around you, or visualize what's happening. I don't want you now to go out and stop your study. Okay, let's go on. My first little thing, and I know maybe it's not stated in the curriculum there, but there's a very important thing we find when we analyze papers at the end of the year. It's 2 concepts that seem to be mixed up quite often, and you lose a lot of marks, especially on the scaffolding questions that follow later. The difference between an informal settlement and an informal sector. Many learners tend to mess this up. So let's look at how we would differentiate so that under stress conditions, we don't make that mistake. One has the word settlement in it, and one has the word sector. A settlement, as you can see down here, is made up of your shacks, all these buildings, you understand. So this is your settlement. All right? The different buildings, the different shacks that are found there, all right? The infrastructure, etc. Now, if we look at informal sector, this is your informal sector. It's the business, it's the selling of stuff. Now, if you look at the definitions here, we said informal settlement are settlements which are densely populated areas with high building density and self-constructed shelters, lack of basic services. You know, you see it around you. All right. But the informal sector are businesses that do not follow the laws and rules and are associated with formal businesses. Example, they don't pay tax. Your man selling a hot dog stand, the guy selling fruit on the side of the road, your flea market, that's your informal sector. So, just to summarize this, the informal sector can be found in the informal settlement, but not always found in the informal settlement. You can also get the informal sector anywhere else in the country. It can be in a suburb. You understand? Can be in the CBD. Can be anywhere where people are selling and the business is not registered. Please note that difference. The settlement and the sector. Okay? Let's go on. All right? Sorry. Let's look at this. Informal sector employment. The very important thing is, how does this informal sector come out? I always have a way of pronouncing this, Tara. Call it a niche. I hope I'm okay. My kids laugh at me also. The niche, or the niche, or the niche. All right. It's based on the niche market.
There we go.
I think I'm better there.
Yes, yes.
All right. What is that? It's based on the local demand of the area. So, informal sector employment, if the local area demands fruit, like around your school, and I hope it's not cigarettes around your school.
Oh, definitely.
Fruit around your school, that every child learner likes fruit, you most probably will get an informal business around there selling fruit. So what is the needs of the smaller and local market? All right? Examples there are, again, flea markets, many domestic workers, right? If there's a demand for it, selling of items such as fruit. I don't like this one, but I have to put it there. Cigarettes, which is very common on the streets. Okay, sweets on the side of the roads. So this is demanded. The person will not put his business there if he's got no customers. So please note, a niche market is a local market. Then the characteristics of an informal sector, learners. Obviously, number one, they don't pay tax. They're not registered, so they're not going to pay tax. Whatever money they get, they actually take it back with them. Poverty and unemployment is a reason. People don't have a job. So what do? They have to get some sort of money to carry on living. So they actually look at the informal sector. Low costs are incurred to start an informal business. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to pay for your premises, etc. You can do it on the side of the road. It's labor intensive with little technology. You don't see them using a lot of machinery. So they use any simple thing available to them. They transport it also. Sometimes you see them pulling it along the way on a little cart or something of that sort. It has no access to credit institutions and other support and protection. In the sense, when I say credit from institutions, they can't get bank loans. They don't have collateral to do that. Also, protection in terms of insurances, etc. They can't afford that, so it doesn't really exist for them. Okay? Operations on a small scale, They don't do it on a large scale. They don't have many different outlets, etc. It's just done. It's a local place. It's done right there. And generally family ownership. You don't get many people involved in it. It's a family or it's just a single person that does this. But you can visualize all this, learners, because you see it on a daily basis. All right? Then, the reasons why would this high rate of informal sector sort of happen in South Africa? What makes it happen? Again, number one is the high rate of unemployment. People need to feed themselves. So they look at informal sector. Poverty is another issue. Illegal immigrants. Why illegal immigrants? If people come into the country illegally, they can't get formal employment. They have to be registered. So they need to sort of get a sort of money to actually earn a living, you understand, to have some quality of life, so they have to get involved in the informal sector. Obviously, they don't pay tax. That will be one of the factors for employment here. Hey, I'm not paying tax. So whatever money I'm getting is mine. So let me get into the informal sector. Employees do not contribute to additional benefits. They don't pay pension funds and other sort of stuff that people in the formal sector pay for. So it's better for them to a certain extent, although the salaries are lower, they know exactly what they're earning. Example of the medical aid, etc., they don't have to pay, which could be a disadvantage also, but could be a reason for why people actually get involved in the informal sector. All right, challenges facing the informal sector. Remember, some people are stuck in this informal sector. They cannot go further. And some of the challenges facing them, number one, is a lack of education. Now, not just education, learners, all right? Not that they know the 3 R's or whatever, but more important in entrepreneurial skills, you understand, which will limit their improvement. Like business skills of how to take your business a little further, etc., to improve your quality of life and your business. Unfortunately, learners, many of them may have the ability and the intelligence, but unfortunately, the entrepreneurial skills actually tend to miss. All right? They do not receive much support from local governments. Right? This seems to be an issue. Sometimes local governments tend to put them up in areas, but is those areas suitable? Is it next to the niche market? I'm getting it. The niche market, where the demand is, and sometimes people go into those areas and they don't make the money. So support in terms of looking after them, educating them, etc., you understand, sort of bringing them up in terms of the quality of life seems to be limited by government support. Right, limited access to finance from banks. It's a challenge. You know, you could get a guy that's sitting there in the informal sector and he has a brilliant idea. But if you don't have the money, you understand, it's a situation for him. So he's caught in the cycle where he may stay in that informal sector for a lot of time. All right. Limited access to infrastructure and services. You know, Tara, I've seen this at the beachfront. And if you see these old ladies,
Yes,
you know,
going
living
from
an
one
honest
to the
living,
other.
and sometimes they stay there in the
Yes,
night
yeah.
with the little kids. You understand? Because there's no storage space. for
Yes,
them.
yes.
And you know, your heart actually goes out to them. You understand? Because of lack of facilities.
Definitely.
etc. So they are limited in this way also. Or they have to carry everything. If they're selling perishable goods,
Yes.
it is a problem, learners. Where do they store it? So they have this massive challenges that exist. So lack of storage facilities also. You understand? Lack of transport, which could be your services. And you know what's another thing actually is the low and irregular income. It's a challenge. Because today I put plate and I come home and my family is happy because I've made a certain amount of money. I'm able to buy it. And tomorrow business did not go well.
Yes.
And I come home with nothing. So it's actually a huge challenge that faces
Very much.
our people in our country also and many other countries where this informal sector really exists. Crime is another challenge. And we put a little challenge question on a challenge. You understand?
There we
So
go.
crime is another challenge which does face. I'm going to talk this one down here, and then I'm going to talk about the other crime at the challenge question, in the sense that sometimes you just notice the informal sector doesn't have the protection. So what actually happens is people want to get into rob people. It's so easy. It's open. Government has not put so much effort into protecting these people. So crime could be an issue and a challenge to the people selling or working in this informal sector. We find it a lot. You understand? People just come and take somebody's stuff, and there's no evidence that you actually bought and it belongs to you.
And the
Because
lack
there's
of
no
other
receipt.
services restricts them
100%.
to
100%.
follow up on that or anything.
You're a good geographer. Okay,
Thank you.
so these are issues that tend to happen. All right. The importance of the informal sector. One thing we must remember, we may say they're not formally employed, but it is a form of employment. So one of the big issues is it reduces unemployment. All right, we get, at least people get to work, whether what work it is, and they earn a little salary. You understand? So at least they can make a living. Okay. It improves the quality of life. Now, when I say quality of life, learners, I don't mean now they get into this elaborate life with big buildings, etc. But it does take that quality of life of where it was to actually a better level. You understand? Where at least they can get food, etc. It does reduce crime. As I was talking about the beachfront, you understand, where people work hard, you understand, instead of doing anything else that is not good. The strengthening of this economy. How can we make a difference, learners? How can we change it? Because it's in South Africa, it's going to stay here for some time. You understand? How do we change this? Okay, I'd like to show you two pictures here. Let's look at this. Let's look at this picture that we have here. What we can see here is people just got their things around. You understand? It's not a very healthy environment also. It's not very organized. You understand? People can get involved in crime and take these people's stuff. You understand? It doesn't look good to the customer. Okay, let's take this picture. It looks far more organized, looks far more healthier, more attractive. So if a person comes in here, he wants to buy from here. So we're looking at, why don't we create things like this? Why doesn't government invest more money in these sort of things next to the niche market, so that it's a demand and it can be supplied to the people, they can come in. So this is one of the things of looking at strengthening this economy. One of the other points that I've got here is to amend laws that will allow government to develop and regulate the informal sector. Change the laws. Government can get then involved in terms of regulating, looking at health conditions, putting in some policing, you understand, educating the people, so they can get more involved in this, not to actually get rid of them, of the people in the informal sector, but to improve conditions. Government can also provide facilities and support services, your refrigerators, your storage place, transport networks to a certain extent, moving people around with public transport so they can go and come back. Government can get involved in this way, improving it. All right, also educating necessarily with the skills that are needed in terms of becoming entrepreneurs. Choosing the location that is accessible and locate the business. Don't just locate the business, learners, but choose a place which is suitable for them. Get into consultation with people and say, where would you like to put this? And let's discuss it. All right, to educate and train in entrepreneurial skills and to provide financial support so that we can build and we can improve this, and eventually our aim should be to actually take this to a level where we can encourage these people involved in the informal sector to actually become part of the formal sector. That will really improve the quality of life and to a great extent change the cycle of poverty that many of our people are caught up. You can see I'm quite passionate about this.
I can see.
Because we really want to change that.
Definitely.
And lots of our people are there. Let's improve the quality. And we as geographers can put our foot down and say, these are the ideas that we have in terms of improving it. I spoke a lot. I think those guys are thirsty. Let them take a break.
Okay, awesome. I'm finding this so interesting. I think not only is it teaching you so much for your exams, but such a good way to approach life, how we can make our South Africa so much better. It starts with this incredible education system, and we can make this work. So I hope you're taking this all down, but like we said, it must be quite tiring. So take a quick break and join us afterwards for some more really interesting stuff to learn. Thank you, guys. Hey Mindsetters, welcome back. We've got so much more to learn, but before we do, I want to remind you about an awesome competition we've got running in addition to the Get Connected. It's the Casio competition. It's great because it allows you to revise and test yourself with the work that you're doing. So now with geography, you can go and test what you know and then submit it, and it'll enter you for a draw to win an awesome Casio calculator. And this is all super beneficial. The competition closes next week sometime, so you've got plenty of time. But get onto it, because not only are you going to be revising and seeing what you do and don't know, but you could stand a chance to win an awesome, really helpful calculator. So definitely enter. Please, also, if you have any questions regarding geography, let us know on Facebook. We're here to help you as much as we can. Thank you, Dave. Let's get going.
That calculator for map work.
Oh, definitely.
I know every time learners, when it's map work, so can I borrow your calculator? That calculator is for map work.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, learners, welcome back. All right. So what we're going to look at first is I'm going to take one question in terms of improving your skills. I'm going to show you that sometimes it's so simple with this question that you actually take the work that you studied and just put it underneath a question. And that's my first question. I'm going to show you how we do that. So it's a section to score marks. Here I've created a bit of a picture. All right. And again, I'm showing you, notice I'm emphasizing on fruit, eh? And you can see this guy who is standing on the side of the road and he's selling stuff. He's got a bit of a variety of stuff. He's got fruit and vegetable. I don't see anything else. Maybe he's got a few sweets there or something of that sort. But he's selling to a market that would buy his stuff. Okay, so it doesn't give us much more information, but it gives us a picture of what an informal sector business looks like. So let's get going. Now, again, learners, and this is how you're going to see it in your prelim exams also. It's going to be scaffolding questions where it's going to start from a simple explanation. All right? And then it's going to go further and further and further in terms of level of difficulty. All right, let's look at the first question. Explain the term informal sector. And the examiner is guiding you towards the questions. All right, you know already what's an informal sector. You know it doesn't follow the rules and regulations of a formal sector. Example, they don't pay tax. Can you see straight from your notes? And it can just appear down here. The informal sector, again, are businesses that do not follow laws and rules and are associated with the formal business. So the formal businesses has these rules. They don't have it, and they don't pay tax. Straight explanation from your notes. Look at this one. Describe 4 characteristics of the informal sector. Again, you can actually just apply this straight from your notes, but it's under a question. You know, learners, I just encourage you to do this, and maybe for all your subjects, is that when you learn, take your headings, and instead of making it a statement, factors affecting erosion, change it into a question. What are the factors affecting erosion? So in sections like this, you take your heading, make it a question, and you're sort of answering your question. You understand? It makes learning much more meaningful. Like for this one, describe 4 characteristics that of the informal sector. And this is quite simple again. You know it. They form due to unemployment and poverty. All right. Low costs are incurred to start this informal business. You don't involve a lot of money. Okay, it's actually less. You can do it with whatever resources you have. It's labor intensive with little technology. Notice what I'm doing, learners. I'm just taking my information and applying it straight as it is. But I'm looking just at the question, whether it's characteristics or challenges or whatever. Again, another question, it has no access to credit from institutions and other support and protection. You understand? They can't go to the bank and get their loans, etc. They will have to make do with what they have. All right, the operations are small scale. As I've indicated before, you understand, they don't do it on a large scale. They're not big businesses, but they're local, serving the niche market. All right, and generally family ownership. So basically what I had to do here was get 4 of them. You understand? And my question states, describe 4. I will give a little more detail, and in this case, I can get my 2 marks each, okay, for these ones, which gives me a lot of marks in this section. It can be even a paragraph question. All right, look at the next one. Again, a simple question. Explain 3 causes of informal sectors. And again, a very simple question. Number 1, if we look at this, what are the causes of it again? High rate of unemployment. Now, learners, I want to take this a little further. The explain 3 causes of informal sectors. This is a Marcus memo. All right? You need to take this a little further. So we can say, in terms of employment opportunities in the formal sector is very limited, and this high rate of unemployment, people need to support themselves in order to live. Therefore, they get involved in the informal sector. So give it a little more explanation, and you would get your 2 marks. All right? Poverty, many people are unemployed, you understand, or many people earn salaries below the living wage, you understand. Therefore, it results in poverty. And remember, this poverty, learners, you also get a situation where people were working in an environment, in a formal environment, but the salaries were so low that it was actually better for them to get involved in the formal sector, and therefore actually earn better. So poverty could be an issue, but always remember, learners, poverty doesn't mean that the person is unemployed. He can be employed and still suffer from poverty. We've seen that a lot.
Definitely.
Illegal immigrants, of course it's an explanation, so take this further. You understand? People are coming into the country, all right? They cannot find formal employment because they are illegally in the country. Therefore, they have to look at the informal sector. So when it's a list, we give it. When it's explained, we add on to that to give you 4 marks. All right? They don't pay tax. Therefore, actually, the income they get is actually beneficial to them because all the income they earn comes back to them. Employees do not contribute to any additional benefits, example, the pension funds, etc. So whatever money they get belongs to them. All right, the fund, example, that can be included that in terms of the fund and the medical aid. So this can be in 1. State 3 challenges facing the informal sector. And I'm losing this one. And I'm losing it again. And I always lose something like this.
It's fine. It gives them some time to think it through.
Gives them some time to think. And it's,
there
we are. It's this finger here. All right. So let's look at 3 challenges. Again, it's the lack of education. Example, entrepreneur skills and improvement in their businesses. It limits their improvement in their businesses. They don't receive much support from the local government. Can you see what I'm doing? Straight from the answers again, or the content. They have limited access to finance from banks, limited access to infrastructure and services. These are challenges facing them. Lack of storage space, low and irregular income, but we need to take our explanations a little further. Low and irregular income, we can say they don't know how to plan their lives. You understand? Even buying food for their families is an issue. Take it a little further, learners, if you need to explain it. Crime, you understand? This is how you're going to see these memos when you do your past papers. You need to explain the crime. What about crime? You understand? These people that don't have the protection, they don't have police protection, etc. They don't have protection against other things. They're out on the road. So what's going to happen? If somebody wants to rob them, it's quite easy to do that. So crime is an issue. Let's look at this question. Local government, and notice, I just took it. You know the content already, learners, but it came into a form of a paragraph question. Read the question carefully. Local government needs to get involved. You see what I was saying, kind of how my finger goes? The learners are used to that. Right. Improving the conditions in the formal sector. All right? They need to get involved. In a paragraph of approximately 10 lines, explain 4 ways in which local government can improve the conditions. Seems like a lot of words, but it's actually a simple answer. What he's saying is, what steps can government take? And that's your paragraph questions, learners. Read through it. You've studied it already. Many of you see a lot of words, and then you think it's too difficult, but it's actually there. You've done it. Read carefully. Look at the action words, and I'll show you the answers. It's simple stuff again. Basically what it is again, and I'm praying this thing works. It works.
There we go. Second
better.
time lucky.
All right. So when we look at this, same things that you studied. Amend laws that will allow government to develop and regulate the informal sector. You understand? We did that in the explanation, and you would have done it in school, where you have laws where they can get involved, they can police the area, they can check, they can upgrade, they can educate, but the laws must be put into place where they can even control what is being sold, whether it's illegal, legal, you understand, the type of products, the health of the condition, healthy conditions, what type of fruit is being sold, you understand, whether it's healthy or not. So all these things can be done. Okay, government can also provide, as we said, the support services, which you've done already. Early on, we've done it. So here's it in the answer. Okay, choosing locations that are accessible to and visible to allocate informal businesses. Educate, that means training, all right, and providing financial support for people. So basically, it's the same thing, just that we have to explain it a little more in detail than when we're listing the factors. And that's where we need to get it. Remember, vague answers, there's no 1 mark if it's 2 marks. Vague answers is 0, and if you give a full answer, it's 2 marks if you have to explain. That's what takes place with geography. So explanation has to be a little more. But you know this work, just that the question looks a bit more difficult. All right. Let's look at another question, learners. This one I've drawn up here. Okay, a little table, and you can come out like this. Again, it's the same answers, just that you're using a table to answer. As I told you earlier on, it's a very simple question. Let's look at what the table is giving us. First of all, it gives us different years, 2001, 2002, 2004, and 2005. You like my circles? All right, so the formal sector, let's look at what's happening with the formal sector here. All right, there seems to be a bit of an increase as we go up. Let's look at the informal sector. Both agriculture is excluded, obviously, because we can't really determine this between subsistence and commercial, or large scale and small scale. But we're looking at this formal and informal sector. And what do we notice about the informal sector? And I scribble again there, that it's also increasing. If you look at the percentages also, it's increasing. All right, with a slight decrease there, in the formal sector, and we look at the informal sector, we see a definite increase towards 05. So the sector is increasing. All right, let's look at the questions. State the number of people. See, the examiner is leading you on. State the number of people employed in the informal sector between 2001 and 2005. Those two. So all you look at is your table. 2001. Actually, this should have been in thousands. I think the gremlin creeped in here and took out the word. Okay, it's in thousands. So it's 1,967, 1.967 million people. All right? And here, 2.462 million people. So we see those two figures. It's taken straight from our table. Can you see it there? Then it talks about the percentage in terms of people. And we look up here, and we can see it talks about the percentage between 2002 and 2004. Please, learners, don't leave tables out and say, but I haven't seen this table before. These sort of things can be very simple. All I look at 2002 and 2004. There is my percentages. 2002, 15.9, 2004, 20%. So it becomes very, very simple. All I do is I take it out. I got 4 marks for nothing. And I point my thing here. Can you see it? There's my answers. Simple. Taken straight from there. Now the examiner has set the tone. You've seen what's happening here. It's increasing. We ask the question, identify the, and I want to change this a bit. I want to write the word general. I purposely left this word out. General trend, that's what happens. Now, please note this is a very important word, because what some people look at, they give an answer like this. It went up in 01, it came down in 02, it went up, it went down. When we talk about the general trend, we look at the figures from here to the figures there. Has there been an increase or a decrease? And that's known as your general trend. And when we look at this, it's a general increase. Okay, so that's the general trend. We just look at the word trend. We don't look at the word general sometimes. All right, and when we look at it again, the amount of people employed in the informal sector is increasing, the general trend. We spotted that already, learners. Simple question. All right, we look at possible reasons. Why is it increasing? Now what we do with this type of question, we can't just take it straight from our notes. We have to select what is appropriate. This is a little higher order question now. Not difficult, obviously. And if you look at it down here, simple stuff. All right, increase in poverty. That's one of the reasons. Poverty increases, therefore more people have to be involved. Increase in illegal immigrants. Therefore, the percentages go higher. See, we're being selective now. The same thing we've studied, but we're looking at the question, why is this trend there? Okay, increase in unemployment. All right, let's look at the next question. Explain the negative impact. Please, learners, I wanted to leave this word out, but I just put it in. When we say this, look at this word, very important. Whether it's a negative or positive impact that this trend will have on the economy of South Africa. What impact will it have? All right, and if I look at my answer here, all right, number 1, simple stuff which you know already, just apply it. Less tax. If I look at it here, less tax for development of services. Obviously, the government is not going to get a lot of tax, and we use the tax for improving our facilities, our services, etc. Okay, it will influence the formal sector negatively because there you have, Tara, you have your formal sector selling your stuff. There, I bring my stuff in front there, and what happens next? You lose business.
Competition.
Yes, and you paying a lot of rent, etc., and you're going to get annoyed with me. You may just close your shop because I'm selling it, I'm not paying tax anymore. All right. And the next one here is it decreases the rate at which the formal businesses develop. There won't be so many formal businesses because there's the informal businesses taking over. And it also discourages foreign investment. Because if there's a lot of informal settlements, people will not get involved in this. All right, just one more question before I take this break. I know, learners. I'm so excited about this. This one here. Discuss people involved in the informal sector contribute positively to the economy. You understand? Do you agree with this statement? Now look at this. Different question. How do they contribute positively? Let's look at this now. Why do we say all of a sudden they contribute positively? A simple answer. I agree with this, that they do contribute positively. All right? I agree with this, that they do contribute positively. How do they contribute positively? Number one, remember, if they're earning money, they're going to buy in the shops. So if they're buying in the shops, learners, they're actually paying money and they're paying certain amount of tax. And if they're buying, there'll be more production, there'll be more factories. So they are contributing. I think they need that break now.
Right. Sure, definitely.
Learners, take that break and we'll be back with that challenge question.
Awesome. Just before we go to break, I want to say a really big congratulations to Sikle Kumalo, who managed to win an awesome Casio calculator. Guys, it really is that simple. You test yourself, which is really beneficial for you, see what you can and can't do, and just by submitting that, you get entered for this competition. So it's really cool and really beneficial. So please definitely get on that. There are a few questions, but we'll follow up on those after the break, because I think everyone might need one. We'll see you now, guys. Thanks. Welcome back, Mindsetters. It's nice to have you with us. I think we're going to have a look at the challenge question and answer some other questions that you have for us, and then we'll get going. So thank you, Dave. Let's see what you have.
Let's just get on with the challenge question, and I know most of you got it right. You say, why? This is not a challenge to me. This is too easy. But let's look at the challenge question again, learners. The challenge question says, informal sector is said to reduce crime rate. Listen, see, I'm trying to create a general trend with my work.
There we go.
Set to reduce crime rate and create unemployment. Right, we know that already. Okay, and create employment, not unemployment, by the way. But it's also known to increase crime. Do you agree with this statement? That's the first part, learners. All right. Give reasons for your answer. And again, it's reality. I'm sure many of you started picturing what you see or what you read in terms of the South African context or your local context. I tended to agree with this, that it does create employment and reduce crime, but it also increases crime. You know, Tara, what happened one day, and I want to tell the learners this. I borrowed a DVD from a friend.
Okay.
So I put it into my stuff. And as I'm watching this DVD, I watch people waking up in the cinema to go out.
Oh no!
Was
it pirated?
Those are people walking around. You understand? So I went to my friend and said, "What did you buy?" It was quite amusing to see people getting up from the cinema
and a little bit confusing
out.
too.
Yeah. So what do we have here, guys? I went for yes, learners, and I said, people rob others of goods. Please note, not all people in the informal sector.
Yes,
but some
very
people
important.
can rob people of DVD players and sell it in the informal sector. Okay, in the sense that it's not regulated.
Yes.
So you're just buying. There's no such thing as you need to see a serial number, receipt, or whatever. You're just buying stuff. So it opens itself to crime, learners. You can actually get in people selling you stuff that is stolen. All right, the next thing is they sell illegal products. Example, branded names like Nike may actually not be Nike.
Yes.
You understand? It's got a little slight change in the tick or something, and it's not the product. Or if you look at those pirate DVDs that I told you about, it's sold and it's not of a good quality, it's taped somewhere. So yes, it allows for a decrease in crime, but it also creates a situation where people can take advantage, and it's not the most of the people. It's some people taking advantage and actually, learners, causing some form of crime in these sectors. You said you got some questions, Sarah.
Yes, I do.
Let's get to those questions.
The first one, I think we covered this, but it's very good that you asked so we can understand it completely. The question was, informal sectors found in informal settlements only?
I think I did raise that point
Yes,
before,
I think so.
But Who is asked the question?
This is Ratsi Susu Tabelo.
Ratsi Shushu. What actually is the case here is that, yes, they are found in the informal settlement. If you go to an informal settlement, you'll see people selling on the sides, or they've got a little shack and they're not registered. But no, it's not only in the informal sector. It can be found in any other, in the informal settlement.
Yeah.
It can be found anywhere else. If you're passing your school, you may see somebody selling there. You understand, on the side of the road. The free market, not necessarily in the informal sector.
Definitely. So
Right.
it's not restricted,
Definitely
I think. Okay, cool. And then I think they just wanted to be a little bit more clear on what you meant by illegal immigrants.
You must remember, people can come into your country legally.
Yes.
You understand, through a passport, etc. So they can walk into your country and they can even stay. They can get a permit to stay. They can ask for permanent residence. So they are legally into your country. The government knows about it.
Okay.
All right. They can get formal employment. There are other people that come in, maybe based out of need, it's security, they see South Africa as a place of opportunity, and they come into South Africa, and the government doesn't know about them. They maybe cross the border, etc., and they're into the country. Because they are not legal, they don't have documentation to show they were given permission to come to South Africa. They can't get formal employment. And this seems to be an issue that they have, and that's your illegal immigrant.
I'm glad that you actually related it to how it affects employment, because I think that's also quite important. Like, it's good to understand what they are, but how it affects employment, I think, is equally important. And yes, that's it for now. Hopefully you have more questions, but...
What I'm going to do, Tara, is that I'm actually going to go back. Learners, I am not going to finish this question, unfortunately.
No?
But I'm going to do a start, seeing that we have some time available.
Cool.
And I'm always very greedy for time. I'm going to show you a little case study here, learners, and I'm going to spend 2 minutes. That's the time that I have.
That's fine.
Let's go for it. Let's look at this question here. It's an article. The South African informal sector. There are over 750,000 informal businesses in South Africa. These businesses face great challenges and very rarely improve their economic status. A significant number of businesses are owned by immigrants from neighboring countries like Zimbabwe and Lesotho. These immigrants are often discriminated against and even experience violent attacks from locals. It's taking it to a different sort of picture here.
Definitely.
It speaks about the people coming in and sort of discrimination. Can you see how we can mix this informal sector?
I'm glad it came in very well after the question.
Okay. Yes. Explain why the businesses in the informal sector is very rarely improve their economic status. Why they don't change it? Can you see the same things we studied earlier?
Yes.
And sorry, learners, I'm going to go a little quicker to show you this. All right, I'm getting down here, and let's look at it. Again, lack of education. Can you see it's answered differently? All right, we can see here also they don't receive much support from local government, something you've done already. Learners, can you see it? Limited finance from banks. All the same questions, but in a different question. Okay? And then we look at the next one. Explain the term that refers to foreigners or refugees getting violently abused. Can you see what we've done here, learners? We've also included things like xenophobia. So this could be a little higher order, but it relates to reality, learners. You understand? Something that you've seen and you've read in the papers. I'm going to take it just one more. Why does South Africa get is one of the largest influx of immigrants in South Africa? And the answers are simple here. South Africa is seen as an economic hub. People want to come here for opportunity from the poorer countries. But can you see the trend here?
Definitely.
It's actually relating it.
Definitely.
Learners, I'm going to make the director very stressed, so I'm going to shut my mouth. Remember, learners, study hard. What goes up and doesn't come down? Geography marks, because you're nice and you're listening about it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Dave. I think they learned so much today. I know I definitely did. And like I said earlier, it relates to more than just your exam or what you're learning in school. I think it's so beneficial to know all this stuff in general and know how you can apply it to make South Africa way better. Thank you so much for joining us today. I was so glad to have you with us, and I found this great. And I'll see you hopefully sometime soon. And good day. Thank you.